Hey everybody. I know that I'm a little bit late to this. I know this has been a topic everyone's probably ran over a million times already, but I wanted to jump in nevertheless. So I got this in the mail from Hisdale College. This is from Christopher Cladwell. Is JD Vance right about Europe? Alright, I'm here to summarize this shit so y'all don't have to bother reading it. So the essay basically talks about how J.D. Vance is speaking within Munich. He's not blaming Russia or China. We know that the West largely has, in fact, pinned its gaze on the Soviet Union. When the Soviet Union fell, then there was a period in time where they were a little bit lost because we really did spend literally since World War II, the Cold War onward, fantasizing about having an enemy. Right now, they want it to be China. Many people have many different opinions about it, but that's not the point of today's conversation. And what we got from this was J.D. Vance came up and told these people, no, Europe at this Munich conference, it's not, Russia and China that I'm afraid of, it's you. So here it is. Basically, J.D. Vance believes that Europe has retreated from its own democratic and free speech traditions, in which he traces to 5 decades of the elites ignoring the voters' pleas for less immigration. Now, this goes back, all right? I'm going to put the name of the gentleman here, and I'm going to put his YouTube channel. He literally talked about this today and said, we cannot figure out how to build strong, cohesive governments, and we cannot find a way besides, them avoiding paying fair taxes for everyone. And now this is my own part that I'm bringing in, not his. You should go watch his content because I highly recommend it. He'll go in more into detail than my little brain can understand. But nevertheless, we're in a situation, especially here in America, where populism is seeming to pop up and it has a lot of negative characteristics behind it. The 5 decades of elites ignoring voters' pleas for less immigration. That is an insane statement to make. Now, as someone who lives in California, I don't know a single Californian who's afraid of, anyone from Latin America coming here. You go to certain parts of California, in our cities, our areas, it is predominantly those communities. Now, the author Cladwell argues that the EU now functions as a transnational regulatory superpower, weaponizing anti-Nazism, wokeism, Russian disinformation claims to sideline populists, blaming Germany's AfD from key forum, banning Germany's ADF from key forums, barring France's Marine Le Pen and Romanian's Colin. I don't know the last name. I'm not going to say the last name. From elections, and even from withholding pandemic recovery funds from Poland ejected from its PIS government. This suppression, he says, has hollowed national sovereignty and has let the once robust European militaries wither well from social spending that grew, leaving the U.S. to shoulder the defensive cost. Because Brussels' agenda has marched in lockstep with the U.S. democratic foreign policy, Trump and Vance view it less as a defender of Western values than a partisan project that ultimately sabotages American influence. Their solution is to returning the autonomy to European nations, even at the price of empowering them against Washington. Now, rest at the belief that they should be self-governing, self-respecting states that can be reliable allies, and the continued elite meddling will turn shared ideals into clashing interests. Okay, what the fuck is this? What in the fuck is this bullshit? First off, look, I enjoy hearing other opinions and other ideas. And it's not that I'm going to sit there, and kind of, shit on them. Because these people have the right to share their opinion and to be heard at the table. And I believe that's fair. Now, here's the problem at the end of the day is ultimately you have to understand the backgrounds and the histories of it. The thing that I recommend all of us go and do, even myself too, is we have to understand what true benefit did we get. Was it Europe buying our arms? Was it having a strategic foothold in Europe and trying, not only to be there because the Soviets were there? Why? No, I don't want us to leave Europe. But I'm also not going to sit there and take your argument seriously about wokeness or any of the other bullshit. These are key terms. Focus on the economic issue. The reason why Europe isn't benefiting is because Europe has already had its time. It's gone and past. The richest people in your country took that money, invested it somewhere else. It's what's happening today. We hear about AI this, AI that. Maybe Trump and his administration might get a few things with AI here. But it's going to be the investment in other countries with the cheapest resources available to generate electricity, to handle the semiconductors, to handle the bitcoins, to handle everything else in the future that will happen. And to sit there and tell me that you're going to sit here and say that all these far-right motherfuckers, all they do is blame immigrants. Immigrants are not the issue. You don't have a lot of jobs or companies there. Maybe it is because of regulation. Maybe it is because of some laws that you've put into place. The issue is you're a dead continent. Do you not understand? You are a dead continent. Nobody cares about Europe. Europe is not the technological advancement place in this world today. It's not. It's not. Okay. And then if you're going to turn to me and say, well, David, that's not fair. Okay. Tell me about England. What are you guys doing besides laundering money for the last 30 to 40 years? You're like the Swiss from the 70s. You don't got anything. Your people are miserable. Your politics are, while not as much of a joke as the United States today, you're not doing good either. And the UK tied itself to the United States. You were the first ones to make a trade deal with us. You're tied to us. And we're tied to Israel, another failed nation. So you can make these arguments, and while I think on a case-to-case basis, we can analyze it to see, are you full of it or are you not? Think about economic growth when money is created, because money, the debt of these countries are obligations outstanding that have not been taxed and that are outside of the government. Where is that money going? Is it going and only benefiting those that already have accrued capital? Because at the end of the day, your biggest problem is the rich. Now, it's not the fact that these people are rich, but it is the fact that when you own such a huge amount of assets, you get to go into anywhere, the US, you can go into all of Europe, you can go to the Middle East, all these beautiful things, and you have the ability on purchasing more than other people. Not goods, ladies and gentlemen, assets. When you're rich, what do you need? If all of your material needs are met, so you don't work a job, you sit around, I don't know what the fuck you do all day, yeah, just chill. Maybe you'll be like the people on Gossip Girl, where you're just big chilling all day. The real issue is the money distribution. Where is that money being moved into, and what industries are you looking to be competitive and strong in to look to benefit not only your people, but the world? And at the end of the day, when I look at it, Germany is the strongest in terms of all of the European Union. It is the actual machinery of Europe. But also at the same time, my man, it is heavily unionized, and for the record, I love unions. I'm upset that we even have to have unions, because we should already have a fair pay structure to begin with, so we don't have to have regulatory or a whole bunch of people in the way, because I know people that are in those motherfucking teacher unions here in the U.S. Germany and U.S. unions are two very different, and these are two different industries, but nevertheless, you're telling me, now, well, yes, if I would have worked in a school district, I actually, currently on my current rate, compared to what people I know are making, okay, fine. They're up 30-40% higher than me, but they have to negotiate. And the people in Los Angeles that have unions, some of these people, from what I've been told, are waiting over a year plus, and they're refusing to negotiate. What? I can go up to my boss right now and say, I want this or this. Take it or leave it, or I leave. And we can have feedback and go back. You can't do that at a school district. Or you can't do that at a union. And when the unions get up high enough and they have what they have, and that they do absolutely deserve it, even though, if you think about it, the union is also the equivalent of a minimum wage. Now, we're saying you get to a tier or a level, depending on who you are in your ranking, you will get paid set amount of money. Well, that does, and well, not a lot, it does create temporary imbalances in the geological location of where these dollars are being moved. Because what it'll mean is, that if I make $21 over in Newhall, and someone who's been at the school district for 2 to 3 years is at almost $22 to $25 an hour. Now, even though these are two separate jobs, they're still in the same category because none of you people have college degrees. And if you do, then you're at a different, level, right? But it's say we're looking at standard entry level positions. 20 to 21 is minimum wage in Southern California now. People aren't paying you that, you're getting fucked over. But when these two forces are competing, the demand that I can pull and the demand that you can pull, yours is on the leverage of a walkout. Mine is, well, David can leave in 2 weeks and then he's gone and then we'll find some other sucker to pay this, money. So all that I'm trying to get to is at the end of the day is you do have a natural imbalance. And what that does is it does create it to where this person at the school district can harness more goods and services and I can't harvest as many goods and services, and the quality of life and what we're pulling from it and our same, vision of our country and what we're looking at look to be skewed and changed. I could sit there and be a Trumpy, even though I'm not a Trumpy, and I could sit there and say, you know what, this country, it's fucked, it's bullshit, these people, they've got a standard of living than me, they have money left over after rent, oh my God, they can handle credit card debt, I can't, I'm starving, I'm fucking almost dying, I have to go get another job. That's where the hysterics and the hyperbolic of this bullshit comes from. And I want all of us to be very clear about what's going on and not get sidelined. Oh, it's the immigrants. It is not the motherfucking immigrants. It is not the immigrants. You can make separate arguments about immigrants, but we're not having that conversation. We need these people more than they need us. And if you don't believe me, I'll be happy to show you over time all of the proof.